What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We are your hosts, the Distorted Theorists, and we just saw some dinosaurs.
Some dinosaur DNA. Jurassic Park Rebirth.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Correct.
Jurassic Rebirth. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. But before we get into our spoiler-free review from opening night here at Cineplex in St. John's, Newfoundland, as always, if you want to support the channel, we do appreciate if you would just take 1 second to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let us know in the comments below, have you seen Jurassic World Rebirth, and what were your thoughts as well? Peter, you're the dinosaur man and the Scarlett Johansson fan, so this is like a culmination of all your things come true.
The one thing that I actually thought really and truly, this captured a lot of the magic, and I guess what you call the majesty of Jurassic Park. Because I even leaned over to you at one point and I said, like, something doesn't feel right, and there was something that was honestly not sitting right with me at the beginning of the movie. It was present in a lot of the trailers, and it was true in the movie too, that the people going, like the movie starts off saying, like, you know, people aren't interested in dinosaurs anymore. Yeah, they were there. Ooh, they're not the thing in it, which isn't true. I can tell you right now that if they were like, there's a real Jurassic Park, I'd be like, how much? Here's a blank check. Figure it out.
Have you seen the movies? Don't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, there will be safety protocols, but they keep using the thing of like, okay, we gotta go and we gotta get to these dinosaurs. There's a reason that they're going to. It's not really totally explained. That people are going to be saved in some way, shape, or form. But they're like, we're going against dinosaurs, and people are like, cool, and they just go. Whereas they'll be like, these are man-eating creatures. And there just wasn't a lot of fear. I was like, there's something isn't sitting right. That they're just so cavalier. But that was what it was like in Jurassic Park. The only people that were truly afraid of these creatures were Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. whatever her name was. I can't remember off the top of my head. And even then, she was the botanist, the paleobotanist. She still wasn't even that afraid of it because she was there for the plants. Alan Grant was like, this is bad. But like Jonathan Bailey's character, Henry, what was his name?
The doctor guy.
The doctor guy.
Man, we suck at this. We love our reviews, but we suck at character names.
Because I'm trying not to learn names. I'm just watching what's happening.
Yeah, same.
He was still like, oh man, just one of these days, I'd love to. Yeah. I'd love to touch a dinosaur.
Platonically.
Well, I don't know.
But you know what? I felt like with these reviews, we often start with the good stuff, okay? But I do want to say first, and again, we're trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but touch on a few key points, is I did feel like this movie did take a minute to get its legs off the ground. I felt like it was a bit of a slow burn, but almost too much slow, like it didn't...
That was what happened in the first one.
But I don't know, there was something about, like, even the beginning scene, the very first dinosaur attack, if we'll call it that.
Just felt
it should have been a bit more like, I want to see a bit more maybe gory part of it, like just really make you fear of like what's to come. But it was very like fade to black, and I was like, I'm not really like on the edge of my seat, where I felt like the first Jurassic Park when they're loading in the, and remember in the, I think is it T-Rex or Raptors?
No, Raptor.
Are in the thing, and they're, and then dude gets eaten, it's like, you're like, oh, shit, okay. So that set the tone for the movie. I felt like this could have used a tone setter. So, you know?
The original Jurassic Park book is very similar in tone and feel to what this movie is, because it was a genetic nightmare is what the first movie that came out in '93 took a more like, not family friendly, but like we have to market it so it's not a horror. We want it to be a thriller. We want it to be an action thriller with the sci-fi
suspense and stuff mixed in too.
But with this one, now they were like, well, we've got 6 movies under our belt, so then we were able to see the Mutodon. Come on.
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm not being biased, but seeing a name, the Distorted Rex, was, right?
We kind of had to get behind that.
But I want to flip over to talk about some of the good stuff of the movie.
You already said that.
What?
You led with the good, wasn't it?
No, I led with the bad. That's what I'm saying. I want to flip over to the good because I like the idea of like, they were like, there's a water, which is in the trailers, there's a water dinosaur, there is a land animal,
Titanosaurus,
and then there is a aerial dinosaur.
Quetzalcoatlus.
Right? So I kind of like that dynamic. However, I would have liked a little bit more exposition on those different regions. Like, they were on a boat, the Mosasaurus appeared, that was kind of it. They went to the land ones,
Yeah, but what
there
else,
was dinosaur. That was kind of it.
What else could they do? It wasn't like they were going to climb a mountain and then there'd be like the Titanosaurus being like, "Hey, come here often." Like,
No, but I mean, I almost felt like there would be more. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the thing of
maybe if they didn't spend so long at the beginning of the movie getting into the characters.
Yeah, and I did feel like for a Jurassic Park movie, this did try to give us a lot of human emotion to latch on to, as opposed to just being afraid of dinosaurs that are trying to kill you.
But again, that was what happened in the first movies, because the dinosaurs weren't present for the majority of the movie. It was the people.
No, maybe they just did it better then, because like this one, I didn't really care if, you know, we were supposed to care for Scarlett Johansson's partner and what happened. Were we supposed to care for
Marshala?
Yeah, Ali's child thing that happened? I don't know. I didn't really care per se.
But the thing with the human emotion part of this that worked back in the day is it was the first movie. And they tried to do it again with this one, which I felt worked to a point. But again, we're 7 movies in, like we want the dinosaur DNA. And that's kind of where it's not that it fell flat, but it just kind of like, oh, and we're back.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah. There was definitely an ebb and flow in this movie where you were like, okay, it was in the trailers. I'm not going to touch on too much, but the T-Rex scene, that was actually had me on the edge of my seat, being like, we were holding our breath a couple times.
Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster.
So I mean, just when you get to that point,
that's when the roller coaster,
where the T-Rex appears.
Yeah.
Just strap in for the next like 15 minutes. You're going to be okay.
And it was even that sequence that we saw in the trailer. I was like, yeah, that's true. Like they can swim. It's in the trailer. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah.
They can swim.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's true. That's why they had those big legs and the big feet that they could work as paddles and everything like that. But we've never really seen it beyond like a shot of the T-Rex coming out of the water or beyond that. And this sequence was like, even from the very beginning, it was like, oh, there's a boat over there. Like, oh no. I think I'm gonna go get it. Why?
That's a bad decision.
Did you not know where you are? You just saw the Mosasaurus. Like,
but you know what else came to mind is something else I felt that this movie did lack a little bit of, was that dinosaur on dinosaur action. I feel like there was a lot of moments where the dinosaurs, or all moments, were chasing humans, which is fine, I get it. But, and that goes back to the originals and all that stuff. But lately, we have been excited to see these distorted Rexes versus a T-Rex or whatever concoction dinosaur has appeared, taking on another one, which is also, I think, most came relevant in Jurassic Park 3, was when the T-Rex took on that big Spinosaurus thingy,
but
whatever it was called.
No, it was in the more recent one would have been.
No, the more recent, I'm talking about when it started.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess I was waiting. I seen this distorted Rex, and I was like, there's some other big monsters out there. Dinosaurs, sorry, not monsters. What can, like, take it on, and let's see that happen. But, I mean, I know they've done that in more recent ones as well, so maybe they were trying to get away with it. But the distorted Rex was, like, kind of cool and, like, very amphibious. I was like, I'd like to see that take on, like, the thing from the last movie. Obviously, there was probably only one of them. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Just something like that, right? And there was no big... I guess, good or bad, there wasn't too much raptor action in this. It's almost like they used that over and over and over again. This one they gave a bit more limelight.
Which is good, because the raptors...
I don't know, what were they called at the end or around the movie?
Well, there was the Indoraptor that was in the, oh my God, the second one.
Yeah, well, what was those flying ones at the end that was...
Well, they're not real.
Oh, so they were a mutated one. I didn't realize that. See, I could, maybe, you know... You're the expert. You're the paleontologist here. I couldn't tell.
There are no flying raptors.
I couldn't tell what was real. I don't know. I'm doing this.
Wiki.
I don't know what was real and what was genetically engineered, so to speak. Like the Gigantodon.
Titanosaurus.
There you go. Is that real?
Yes.
Okay. Those are pretty cool. But that was that. But you know what? It's funny.
Titanosaurus was where there was like the plesiosaurs that were giant. Like there was the Diplodocus, there was the Brachiosaurus, there was.
But you notice how they used that moment. That was the very cliche moment.
They do travel. Yeah.
It was
still part of that. It was that like capture the imagination of like, oh my God.
But it does make you go back to being like that kid again and seeing dinosaurs on the big screen for the first time, which is something that I think a Jurassic Park and World movie still got. You got to keep your bones of it, you know?
The thrill of a Jurassic Park movie was very much alive in this film, which is something that I haven't felt probably since Jurassic World.
Which was a great movie, by the way.
Which was just a rehash of Jurassic Park.
Loved it, though.
Right, but it's the same thing. Force Awakens, which is a rehash of New Hope. So they found what worked with the first one and then remade it for the start of the next trilogy. And this one did capture it, but it's its own, like, they already knew the mistakes. There were mistakes that had happened. And they were just like, oh God, I hope nothing happens this time. Like, no, like, we're going into dangerous territory here. They just didn't realize that they would have another, and that's the other thing we haven't even touched on. We kept mentioning Jonathan Bailey, Mahershala Ali, and Scarlett Johansson. We haven't even mentioned the other characters that we see beyond what that T-Rex sequence, because they're so inept in a manner of speaking, because they're just like innocent bystanders that get pulled into this horror show.
That was one thing that I definitely noticed as well that caught my attention, was that there was no like bad acting in this. Like, you know, with some of these movies lately, there's
genuine
like
fear.
Yeah, there's genuine fear. Not going to remember his name as per, but the actor from Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix was in this movie. I didn't even know that till he showed up on screen. I was like, oh shit, I love that show.
You should stay in the courtroom. He's out of his element.
Well, you know.
But Scarlett, I found that as much as I like Scarlett Johansson as like Black Widow and in so many other movies that I've seen her in, her swagger and confidence in this movie was just not a bit unfounded, but it just kind of felt like you're running from creatures that you've never seen before. Yeah. Not that you were like, oh, I've researched these for years.
Yes, there was no.
She was just like, yeah.
There was no surprise. And what? Because you're a special ops agent, you're just supposed to know how to deal with that. Like, there was no like, oh my fucking God! Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, there's a dinosaur. But you know what, like, having said all that, I think at this point, at least me anyway, going into a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie,
you know what you're getting.
I know what I'm getting. I'm looking for that bigger, I'm looking for that badder, I'm looking for the more grotesque, if you will. And in some cases, this movie did deliver that. There was some pretty cool monsters that, I keep saying monsters, dinosaurs, that, well, they are monsters, monstrosities, if you will, that...
You're getting caught up in the moment.
There was a couple moments, like even the one where they're on a cliff, when in the third act, or just before like the final act. That was pretty. We were in D-Box too, by the way, which made us get a few butterflies more again, or me anyway.
But that was a real one. That was a real one.
But I can't say I can sit here and recommend the D-Box. I felt like there was more we could have felt. But it was stationary for a lot, so
but there's no
put
IMAX.
that in the review as well. There's no IMAX. What do you think of that? What do you make of that? Tell the fans here.
Well, it's obviously they couldn't get the funding for IMAX. I don't think I've ever seen a Jurassic World Park movie in IMAX, unless the original 3 may have been it way back when. But I don't think Jurassic World was even IMAX.
I don't even remember, but I don't know if it needed. I don't know if it would have added anything at this point.
We just got lucky with tickets.
But before we take it out and before we give our review and our final rating, where do we go with the Jurassic World Park franchise from here? Do you think if there's going to be more? They
said that there was rumor that this was going to be a trilogy. I mean, I said, you heard me say as we were walking out, like, that'd be cool if this was a standalone, but like, I mean, they had to keep going with Jurassic World.
Well, like you always say, money.
Yes, but the story with Jurassic World, they could have left it like, oh, we're going to leave another island. Like, how many of these friggin' islands are we going to have before you figure out dinosaurs were a poor investment, even though chumps like me would be like, yes, money. Yeah. So it's supposedly going to be a new trilogy. We've already dealt with the mutants from the past movies, and now we've got these true genetic, we spliced them. Like, no, we're just turning these into creatures that are grotesque. And
it's almost like they just put DNA and DNA together and see what happened, and if it didn't look cool, nix it.
But that's even what they said in the movie. It was like
they had to be marketable.
They had to be marketable, so it was nothing better than just having the same old dinosaurs. We had a T-Rex and a Brachiosaurus and a Dilophosaurus. Like, well, we had to make them more grotesque to get people to come in because people were losing interest. So from that perspective, it does work as like, oh, this is kind of new. Can they get 2 more movies out of it? I don't know, because whatever they were looking for in this, which is a plot point, they're going to do what they want. So is there more people? Is there going to be more companies?
I wonder if at the end it's just going to go right back to dinosaurs are gone. People are wishing they could see them again and ultimately end up opening, and at the end of the finale, when this is done, a new Jurassic Park where you can go and visit the dinosaurs. I wonder if it comes full circle. Or one that is like safe, you know?
Is it going to be something involving like, oh, okay, well, they did it here, now we're going to bring them in our backyards or something like that? Like, they're going to market it for people, have a little Chihuahua Raptor.
But you know what? That's the fun part. You never know where this kind of franchise is going to go. But Peter, at the end of our video here, got to give it a rating as Jurassic Park rating or movie rating for the summer. Where are you putting this one at? That's okay, he's in the video now, it's all good.
That's cool, we can't give you credit now, it's all right. So beyond that, I would give it a total, I would give it a solid 8. I give it a solid 8, yeah.
I'm gonna go 7.5. I think there has been better Jurassic Park movies, and I do believe that this movie is probably not gonna rank super high on all the movies that I'm going to see this year. So I think I'm going to stick it at around 7.5.
It's a solid summer movie.
You're
going to enjoy it. If you come out of it not liking it, that's
on you. Yeah, that's on you. But it's a Jurassic Park movie. You know what you're getting into. If you're going to go see
dinosaurs. There's nothing surprised. We're like, where are they? Oh, there's the Smurfs.
Just have fun with it. Just have fun with it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself and Peter for our review straight out of the theater on opening night here at Cineplex in St. John's, Newfoundland. As always, if you want to support the channel, we do appreciate it. If you would just take a second to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and touch on anything we've said here in this review. Have you seen the movie and what do you think of it? And where do you think the Jurassic Park / World franchise goes from here? And with that, I am the real Jussy.
I'm Peter Parkour, and like we always say around here,
keep it real.